if you looked at our life as an outsider looking in, you'd think, well, life is pretty good. You've got your own business, you employ about 25 people working with some of Australia's largest brands. You've got the beautiful house in Melbourne, the holiday house down in South Gippsland, a couple of overseas holidays every year. What more could you possibly want? But I felt unbelievably unfulfilled with that. There was something missing, that it was a great life, and it was, thing that I dreamed of as that 17-year-old leaving Mount Isa, but it just wasn't enough. And one day I was sitting in a meeting with a large financial service client, and we were sitting there strategizing about how we could get people to spend more money using the credit cards, buying stuff that they didn't really need. And my aha moment was, well, is this really how I want to spend the rest of my life? Is this really what I want to be remembered for? And is this what I want my kids to see as the definition of successful?
Yeah.
And it wasn't. So thought about how we could use the skills, or how I could use my skills that I had acquired throughout the course of my career. And instead of convincing people to buy stuff they didn't need, use them to try and make the world a little bit better.
Now that's such a big pivot. I can't even get my mind around it in some respects, but I can hypothetically, and I'm actually very inspired that you've done what you've done. Can I ask how old your children were at the time you made this decision?
So I had an 18-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
And how did they react to this decision that you're going to make, which had the potential to disrupt some of their overseas holidays and lifestyle?
It totally disrupted their overseas holiday and lifestyle. And you know what? They, I think they probably thought, oh, mum's a bit crazy and, what is she doing? But I don't think they fully comprehended at the time either just exactly what bigger shift it would be and how much of an impact it would have on their lives as well, and shape them as human beings and individuals. But, at the time they were supportive. They were in for the adventure and the ride.
Well, that's great. That's really is good. And because that's one of the fears around taking such a big career pivot is not only the financial impact, but of course you're bringing other people along the journey with you, and they may not always be on the bus, right? So I think that's a terrific outcome for you. Now,
I was just going to say, I think that, I had mum guilt when making that decision, because I did absolutely recognize and appreciate that it wasn't just my life that was being disrupted by this decision. It was the entire family.